Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to our beloved lecturer, which is Madam Raja Azrin bin Raja Ahmad. I am Rafatika Slena binti Sleman and my group mates, which are Nur Aniza binti Zakaria, Nur Adrina binti Zaba, Muhammad Syafiq bin Ramli, and Muhammad Hairi Fitri bin Shabuddin, will present about Enron cases. First thing first, for the introductions. Although Enron went bankrupt and disappeared 10 years ago, the impacts it has made on the ethical standards never faded. It took Enron 16 years to go from about $10 billion asset to more than $65 billion assets, and took 24 days to go bankrupt. Enron also, which once ranked as the seventh largest company on the Fortune 500 and ranked as the sixth largest energy company in the world, on December 2, 2001, filed for bankruptcy protections in the biggest case of bankruptcy in the United States. By November 2001, the company's stock, which once peaked at $90, was down to less than $1. It was a disaster for the thousands of employees and investors. Employees lost their jobs and pensions, and investors lost billions of dollars. This Enron scandal is one that left a deep and ugly scars on the face of modern business in accountancy and auditing. In these presentations, the facts of Enron's case were reviewed and the major ethical issues involved in Enron's scandal were analyzed by our group. Next, about history of Enron. Its business began through the mergers in 1985 between Houston Natural Gas and Omaha-based Internorth Inc. For following 20 years, Enron grew quickly and became the largest energy trade in the world. In 1999, after a foray into fiber optics and the broadband market, Enron suffered too many substantial losses and began bleeding quickly. However, Enron had never declared any information about its losses until October 2001. Instead, in these years, Enron achieved a phenomenal bottom line through overstating revenues and hiding liabilities. Then, besides manipulating the financial statements, Enron never mentions the risks which it should disclose to its investors. On the contrary, the company disclosed a great earnings forecast through the media and encouraged investors to purchase Enron stocks. They also suggested their employees invest their pensions in Enron stocks or stock options. The audit company for Enron, which is Arthur Andersen, helped Enron hide these frauds for 5 years. The executives also drove up the stock price and put a large amount of money into their own pockets through trading stocks. All the people involved in this shocking fraud went on a trial, including executives of Enron, Arthur Andersen, and some other persons or companies who were involved in the fraud. Next, I will pass the next presentation to Aniza about the role of Arthur Andersen in Enron scandal.
Next, I would like to present about the role of Arthur Andersen in Enron scandal. Okay, who is Arthur Andersen? Arthur Andersen is an American holding company based in Chicago, formerly one of the big five accounting firms along with Price Waterhouse, Deloitte, Ernst & Young, and KPMG. Now, there is only 4 accounting firms, big accounting firms. The company had provided auditing, tax, and consulting services to large corporations. By 2001, it had become one of the world's largest multinational business. Arthur Andersen had served as Enron's outside auditor since 1985. In 16 years of relationship with Enron, besides external auditing, they also provide Enron internal auditing and consulting services. From 1997 to 2001, Enron overstated its profit by $568 million, 20% of Enron's earnings for 4 years. Anderson auditors helped Enron hide this earning manipulation. On June 15, 2002, Anderson was convicted of obstruction of justice for sharing documents related to its audit Enron. This is the first role of Arthur Anderson in Enron scandal. The first one is facing the false financial condition. Arthur Anderson never disclosed it. Enron is one of the major clients of Arthur Anderson, so they do not want to lose their big customer, big client. So AA help Enron to hide the truth, the truth of their profit. So AA choose to illegally to earn profit. Secondly, AA provided Enron external auditing, internal auditing and consulting services at the same time. It is violating accounting and auditing standards because there are conflicts of interest among these services. Thirdly, the violation of independency. There were close relationship and interest conflicts between AA's employees and Enron executives. One of the audit partner of AA's is one of the closest friend of the CEO of Enron. And there were many high-level executives on Enron from AA. Thirdly, many AA employees had permanent officers at Enron and kept close relationship between the employees of Enron. And 7, AA's auditor joined Enron. Lastly, Arthur Anderson destroyed many papers and documents of Enron after Enron's scandal was disclosed. This is because they want to remove the evidence. SEC encountered many difficulties when they investigated the fraud of Enron.
Okay, next is factors contributed to unethical behaviors. Enron's culture contributed much to the ethics scandal. Enron emphasized competition and financial goals among employees. Enron had a rating system which is required that 20% of all employees need to be rated below than the requirements every year and encourage the employees to leave Enron. Enron hoped that this rating system will encourage employees to work hard. The first factors is culture of deception. This occurs due to Enron's competitive environments and rigorous performance evaluation standards. Employees tend to cheat to make their performance look good as they're nervous. They're scared about losing their jobs. At Enron, not any person felt shame as all their co-workers were also cheating to achieve their financial goals. Okay, for example, Margaret Sinoni, an employee of Enron Energy Service, wrote a memo about the truth of accounting issue that occurs in Enron, and she then will consult on employees' morale. Okay, the second factors is uncooperative and seldom communicated among employees. This occurs due to the competitive environment that contributed to the covering the errors and cheating. It is considered as insult if the employees ask questions to their coworkers. They also not willing to share resources and information to the others. Okay, the employees try to hide errors to make their work look good, and others just ignore it without mentioning their doubts about the others' work. Okay, they thought if the others' works were not actually wrong, Okay, then the person who had thought about the others' works, they will be laughed at. Okay, the third factors is emphasize too much on financial goals. Okay, the person that achieved the budget numbers will be called as the hero of the company. Executives and most employees focus on making profit for themselves instead of real increase of company's economic value. The needs, values, desires, and well-being of employees just being ignored by Enron. Not any person follow the ethical standards uh, of the company as it is just window dressing for the company. Okay, the last factors is keep employees and outside parties quiet. Employees are prohibited from expressing their doubts about the company's financial condition and executives' decisions. Enron will hurt both from either people inside and outside of Enron to the person who doubt about the company's financial condition. Okay, for example, John Olson, an analyst of Houston Company, lost his job as he advised his client to not invest in Enron since he doubt about how Enron making money.
In the next 4 slides, I will explain to you the solution to the problem that happened in Enron cases. As an employee, we need to consider the interests of all the parties that involved in our company. Who is the parties that we need to consider? They are the person who was affected by our decision, which is investors, stakeholders, and also shareholders. We also need to choose the action which can maximize the benefit, whether it's for the sake of the company to maintain their good names, and also we need to keep the best interest for ourselves too. The categorical imperative and Immanuel Kant theory stated a standard. You cannot use others in a way that give you a one-side benefit, same like the case of Enron. As an employee, we need to ask ourselves whether something that we do for the company is legal or is it balanced or how does it makes me feel. It is illegal to have the company hide any fraud or any misconduct. As examples, if I disclose the information to the public, I may lose my job. Otherwise, if I hide the information, more people will suffer, such as the investor and also the stakeholders. I need to disclose this to the public and try my best to stop the fraud, although I know that I may lose my job. Hiding the facts that I know and letting others suffer from that facts make me feel guilty whether it is in the current situation or in the future. Whistleblower ethics. Whistleblowing means the act of drawing public attention or the attention of an authority figure to perceive wrongdoing, misconduct, unethical activity within public, private, or third sector organization. The company need to provide safety to the employees that share the information about the fraud, wrongdoings, or any misconduct or any unethical activity in the company to the board of directors and also to the public. Other than that, the company can implement rules and punishment. The company can set up the rules that need to be followed by the employees. The company also need to state the punishment and take it seriously to the employees. The employees also responsible to know the basic rules and punishments stated by the company. Company also can provide proper ethics training program to their employees. Lastly, all party was responsible to take part in the company issues. First, the company general meeting. The management should ensure all the shareholders attend the general meeting so that they know every inch progress made by the management of the company. The shareholder also can give their own suggestion or opinion toward the improvement of the business. Next, the audit committee was introduced. The auditor should assess the efficiency of financial manager and also other financial staff. They also need to review the financial statement before being presented to the board and give their opinion and recommendation on behalf of financial view. The auditor report must be true and fair view. It is more better if the company separate the auditor and the consultation function.
As the conclusion from this Enron case, we could conclude that without a proper ethical implementation in a company, they can fall into a bankruptcy. We can see that in this Enron case, this big company is easily fall when the management fall to implement the proper ethical in the corporate governance. This case also can become a lesson to business world that we have to follow a proper ethic under corporate governance to make sure that our business sustain for a long time basis. Next, we can also see that integrity value in the audit firm is very important. This can be seen through Arthur Anderson, who became the auditor of Enron company but failed to provide the true information towards the shareholders. Hence, this Arthur Anderson company, the big firm during that, fall easily because they fail to keep their integrity. Last but not least, we can see that accounting development avoid from the company from chance to involve in fraud. We can see this through Enron case, which their management can easily manipulate the data in the SOFP so that they are seems like to be a profitable company, but they are not. But nowadays, accounting development has enhanced the system so that the management cannot making fraud easily. So overall, I can say that why it is important for us to learn accounting and the history of our accounting so that we can always evolve and improve from time to time for a better business environment. So I think that is all from our group. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.